Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Assassin's Creed games now that Valhalla is out and I've played it. I did not stream any of it because I just wanted to go at my own pace and not have to worry about A, having a chance of being spoiled in a stream or a video, or B, being able to take some time if I want to take a break or any of that. You know, I'll have more freedom to do my own thing as I play the game. So that's why I didn't do any of that, and I'm just now recording a video on the game now that I have beat the main storyline. I haven't really done much side stuff. I beat the main game, and it took me like 80 hours. I don't know why it did, but it took me like 80 hours. So anyways, with that said, this is a 2020 updated ranking of the games now that Valhalla is out. So coming in at last place, we have Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, I have Syndicate here because I've said this many times, I don't really like the setting of Victorian London. It's just my personal preference, and I just think the game doesn't take itself seriously enough, and I just don't really like a whole lot of it. The parkour isn't really great. It's a step down from Unity. Unity is the best game, in my opinion, in terms of parkour and graphics. Everybody can agree on graphics, but parkour is a bit iffy between some games. But anyway, Syndicate is a step down, and I don't really enjoy it too much. I'll play it, but it's not something I would ever choose over any other game, so that is why it is last place. Second to last place, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yes, I had this very high up the last time I ranked it. Now, I'm just basing this ranking based upon it being an Assassin's Creed game. In a normal circumstance, this game would be higher if I was just ranking it in terms of games in general. But in terms of Assassin's Creed games, based on the name Assassin's Creed, it's very low because it is not a true Assassin's Creed game. You can argue that all you want to, but in the first, hour of the game, they say, I'm not an assassin, I'm a mercenary, so that's just the way it is. Anyways, now that I've said that, I will say that I love the setting of ancient Greece. It is my favorite historical time period, and I am doing a history education major, so that just goes to show that. And Assassin's Creed is actually kind of what got me into history, so that is a fun fact for me. The next game we have is Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed 1 is this low because it is a good game in terms of story, but it is very repetitive in terms of gameplay, and it just doesn't really hold up, in my opinion, to other games in 2020. I know it's obviously the oldest game, 2007, but compared to games like AC2, Brotherhood, Revelations 3, on, those games hold up a lot better today than I would say AC1 does, so that is why it's ranked there. And it's, like I said, a good game. I love Altair, I love the storyline, but it is extremely repetitive. Now, the next game we have is Assassin's Creed Rogue. It is here because it's a decent story. I find it not as interesting as AC1, but I do think it's pretty good. Plus, Hatham is in it. He's a major part of it, so that just brings it up. But anyways, there's not really a whole lot more I need to say about Rogue, because everybody knows that it's a decent game, not the greatest, not the worst. So that is why it is ranked there. Now, the next game we have is Assassin's Creed 3. I have Assassin's Creed 3 lower than I think I had it before, and for the reasoning, it's because Assassin's Creed 3 is a decent game, but the modern day, it kind of screws it up at the end with Desmond dying. But no spoilers for any future games, but there is a bit of, I guess, fixing of the modern day, I guess we could say. Not saying anything about, Desmond or anything, but just, the modern day wasn't very good after Assassin's Creed 3, but the modern day is starting to get fixed with Valhalla. But there's not really a whole lot more to talk about with Assassin's Creed 3. I think the setting is okay. I don't really think Connor is a great protagonist. I like him personally. I don't love him, but I like him. But I know a lot of people have issues with his character. But like I said, I find him okay. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I have Black Flag above 3 because it's kind of a step up. It's like they take Assassin's Creed 3 and build onto it, which is what makes Black Flag such a good game. And I think the storyline of how Edward goes from just being a pirate who doesn't care about anything to becoming an assassin, I guess like after the games, but he ends up being a very, very righteous person, and the ending makes me cry every time, so that is why it's ranked there. And I think it being set in the Caribbean, obviously it's a pirate game, but I think the Caribbean is a very beautiful place, and I think they did it a decent amount of justice, I'd say, in terms of making it open, more open than I would think it is. I think it's like the biggest map out of any AC game, and I think they did a good job by including as much as they could to give you a feel of, hey, you're a pirate sailing the Caribbean, not just some small little area. Now the next game we have is Assassin's Creed 2. Now Assassin's Creed 2 is ranked here because there are some better games. It's a great game, but there are just some better games. The intro is probably my favorite intro out of any Assassin's Creed game. It gives me chills every single time I see it. But there are some better games, and there are some low points in this game. I'm not really going to go into details because that would just make the video longer than it needs to be. But anyways, with that said, that is Assassin's Creed 2. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Now, Brotherhood is ranked here because it is obviously a great game. We're on to, what, like the top 5 games? And I think Brotherhood is an amazing Assassin's Creed game. I love Cesare as a villain. I love Ezio's character as he grows and becomes a mentor, and he just is like, it's like one of the greatest character developments in any game, and especially Assassin's Creed. Ezio is by far the best protagonist we've ever had, in my opinion. But there's not really much more I can talk about with Brotherhood because, like I said, I don't want to go into too many details and make this video longer than it needs to be. Anyways, with that said, I'm now going to be moving into the top 4 games, and the top 4 games consist of Revelations, Unity, Origins, and Valhalla. Now we have Unity in number 4. Now Unity is, in my opinion, it was a broken mess. It was probably one of the most hated Assassin's Creed games whenever it was released. But now that it is 6 years later and the game has been fixed, I think it is probably one of the best Assassin's Creed games. The graphics are by far the best of the series. The parkour is really good in my opinion. The story is okay. It's not bad, but it's not that great. But one of the selling points for me was that I got the game not whenever it was released, but about a year later, and so I didn't have to deal with any of those game-breaking glitches or bugs or anything, so I didn't have that problem that a lot of people had. So I think my ranking for Unity is higher than a lot of people would think it is, but I think Unity also at the same time has been getting a whole lot more love in recent times than it used to, and I think it's becoming one of the most beloved games for Assassin's Creed fans. Now coming in 3rd place, we have Assassin's Creed Origins. Now Origins is a decent game. Bayek definitely carries it. He is by far one of the best characters. I'd say he's the 2nd best protagonist in the series besides Ezio. I love the voice actor. I forgot his name, but I know exactly what he looks like, and if somebody gave me a list of names, I'd be able to point out his name. But anyways, Origins, I think it's a decent game. I believe they changed writers at the end or something, so that's why it got pretty sloppy and the ending was rushed. But I definitely think it is a great game overall, and the crocodile storyline is probably one of my favorite storylines in any Assassin's Creed game. It gives me chills. The beginning gives me chills. It's just such a good game, and Bayek, like the diversity of him, between him being super serious and bloodthirsty and him joking around with kids, it's just such a very, very, very good game with a very good character in that aspect. But like I said, the ending is rushed. It's an okay story for telling the origin of the assassins, which obviously were the hidden ones at the time. It could have been better, but it was executed okay enough for it to be in the top 3 in my opinion. I definitely think that it is going to have a lot of replayability in the future, and I think it will hold up in the future. Now next up, we have between Revelations and Valhalla. I have Valhalla. And Valhalla is number 2, and I'll get into that whenever I talk more about Revelations. But I think Valhalla is a great game, and I think their major flaw with the game is having way too much marketing into the Viking fantasy, which I know they're trying to appeal to people who want to play a Viking game, but at the end of the day, it is an Assassin's Creed game, and I think this game is very, very, very good. And I definitely enjoyed every single storyline. There were some weak points here and there, but it was overall a very solid game all throughout. The modern day has been great. Obviously, the DLCs haven't came out yet, so we don't know the full story of the game. But from the main story that we got, I absolutely loved it. The ending of the Order of the Ancient storyline, the regular storyline, the modern day storyline. I think it's all amazing. I love every single arc. My favorite was, I think it's pronounced like Glorestichir or something. I don't even know how to say it, but the one where, spoilers, I guess, this isn't really major, but the one where you go trick-or-treating, that one. I thought it was really funny, and I thought it was a lot more relaxed than the previous arcs we had done, and I thought it was a pretty good storyline just to have a little bit of a break from more of the serious tones, and it was still somewhat serious, and it balanced it out pretty well in my opinion. And I love how they bring back characters from all of the different arcs, and they actually have a significance in the story, and you get to talk to them. And then, like, also, I would get letters whenever I would be in my bedroom in the settlement in the longhouse, and then it would be like, oh, this is from Stowe from London, and it would be like, hi, we're having a party because we've done this or something, and you would go there. There would be no quest marker, no nothing. I would go there, then there would be cutscenes, and I would talk, and I would be able to, like, have a party. I would talk to all of these different people. It would show me progression, and it's just so good. It's such a good game, and it is probably the most immersive Assassin's Creed game I've ever played, just because there's so much to do, and your settlement isn't like some minor thing. You build it up so much, and it becomes a major aspect, and there's quest lines for most people in the settlement. You get to talk to them, you get to have parties with them, all kinds of stuff. It's just such a good game. I love it so much now that I'm talking about it. And then coming in at number 1, we have Revelations. And Revelations has been my favorite Assassin's Creed game for many years now. A lot of people don't like it because they think, oh, the coloring is bland, oh, the storyline isn't that amazing, I guess. There's some very minor issues in my opinion, but I love the ending of Ezio's story, and I think that it's a very great execution, and especially like the ending with Altair. I think it's just so good. Him going to Masyaf, and oh my god, it gives me chills throughout the entire like last 2 hours of the game. I think it's such a great story, and I love Constantinople. It's very dynamic in my opinion. A lot of people like it, a lot of people hate it. It's really a mixed bag. But I definitely think that this game is my favorite in terms of the Ezio games, and I think Ezio is the best character, so that is pretty much why I have it as the number 1 game. Now, like I said, I like Odyssey as its own game, so don't go hating in the comments. And Unity, like I said, the bugs weren't a problem for me, and Revelations is my favorite, so there's not really a whole lot more I can talk about in this video. If you want me to go into detail on certain games, leave a comment. But with that said, that's really it for this video. I just hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to like give myself a little bit of padding, so if you could subscribe, please, I'd appreciate it a lot. I mean, you're watching this video, and if you're at this point of the video, you might as well subscribe, like seriously. But anyways, with that said, thank you for watching a lot, like for real, this has been a very long video, at least for me. I've talked longer than I should have, and it means a lot that you're watching this, so I seriously appreciate it. With that said, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.